I want to make another video now about being disestablishmental because I have been pretty much disestablishment um, way back from the '60s, and I have seen the erosion of our country in the last 30 years dramatically shifting away from rights for individuals and we what I couldn't understand was like when people voted for Bush and how they talk about rights in the same breath, like people were voting and saying, well, we want the government out of our lives, so then they voted for a Republican. Well, that's not how you get government out of your lives because that's um, it's the establishment that is in our lives. It isn't just the government per se. It's the whole structure, the way it's set up with the bankers and with the companies. See, like the top 500 companies are answerable. They have what what their stock actually is ends up in the hands of these bankers, the Rothschilds, and um, when people mention the Rothschilds, other people say, "Oh, that's so crazy," but it's not crazy at all. Because and that's why I mention the Rothschilds over and over again because they really took control of England and France central banks way back in the 1700s. And they also had the stock market way back then, and they were lying way back then, and they're lying now. And um, when I'm talking about disestablishment, I mean I want people to see that by going along with whatever they're doing, it's like going along with the thief. You're going along with a slave trader. You're going along with a pirate. You're going. That's what the president is doing. He's going along with pirates. He's going along with slave traders. He's going along with drug traders. And to this day, they're still trading people and drugs, and um, they want companies to. They own a lot of companies, and they back a lot of companies, and they're the ones that and get them to get things cheaper and cheaper. They devalue their stock, just like when they took that Beer Stearns stock from like $300 to $1. Well, they could do that with any stock, with GM stock, or with Sears stock, or with Walmart stock. And when they devalue a stock, then they have to get even cheaper labor to try to make up for the whole thing. So it's all rigged, is what I'm saying. And so then people say, well, I got to answer to these people because they're the top of the food chain or whatever. They're at the top of the. Well, would you answer to a criminal that So we have to not respect that. Even like I'm watching this science fiction movie, The Running Man, where you got these people chasing these other people, and the bad guys are the cops or the real predators, but the people all think that the bad people are the people that the cops are chasing. Just like to to this day, they're like the cops we have now aren't really bad, but sometimes they are really predatory. Like when they get all dressed up in SWAT uniforms and they cover their faces and stuff like that. It could be some of them were dealing drugs and they don't want, you know, um, anybody to know who they are or whatever. But we really don't want anybody ever to to not represent who they are. Uh, because then you really don't know who you have. Just like when they had uh, these strikes, or I mean, when they would have protests and they would have people dressed up as protesters, but they were really there to, um, as anarchists, to create violence to make the peaceful protesters look bad. So anyway, that's stuff you already know pretty much. But I just, what my whole point of this video is just to say that you you shouldn't think of yourself like if you're protesting or whatever, or you're like thinking about wanting to ask for higher wages or protesting the fact that some places want like bilingual or something when this is shouldn't be bilingual or ten lingual, 10 languages or anything. We you know we in this country, uh, we shouldn't be turning our country over to another language, another uh, group, and they'll say, "Oh, well, that's prejudice." Well, no, it's the other way. It's prejudice. It's prejudice when people come to this country and don't think they need to learn the ways of this country. They came from another country. It's just like if I go to Germany and I say, "Okay, all you Germans, you need to learn English." They look at me like, "Are you nuts? Are you out of your freaking head? You're in Germany, you know." And that's what I say to people from Mexico. You're not in Mexico. Don't you get it? Yeah, I don't care if you're Latino or you're whatever you are, If you're German, Latino, or whatever you are, it doesn't really matter. And you're the one that's prejudiced because you come over here and you just act like, everybody's got to bow down to you or something. And they don't. And they shouldn't. And they shouldn't. And we shouldn't have to have everything, it shouldn't be all be you should know that anyway. So anyway, that's all I want to just that when if you don't stick up for yourself, it gets to the point where you just don't have any rights at all, and it doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican, because um, we need to get on all of them. Like, the last 8 years were just totally awful, and the next 4 years, 8 years, whatever, are going to be just as bad or worse because the Obama is just following the establishment. What I would say if the difference, what he should do, I would say if he wanted to know where a lot of people's heads are at, is to make sure that he does stop the torture, make sure he does get out of these wars, make sure that he does try to help people get employed again and stuff. Because other than that, all this stuff that like saying you're going to get out of wars, saying you're going to stop torture, saying that people will have a right to go to court, but not doing it, you're not. People can see right through that. People can see right through what the banks are all about when you're not overseeing the banks properly. And like when Bush, whenever he'd get in trouble, something major would happen. Well, that's like with the banks right now. You're saying you're giving a list of 4 things that you'll do with the banks, but it's all a phony list because you know that they're hot on the trail of auditing the Fed. Well, we need to audit the Fed, and Obama should encourage that we audit the Fed, and that would show that he is not just a total fascist freak. That he realizes that we got criminals, and that the criminals are running the whole thing, and he doesn't need to be with those criminals. He's got a chance of a lifetime to not be a damn fascist criminal, and I hope that he takes this lifetime chance and becomes a hero and not a stupid Cheney, uh, old freaky fat lazy fascist.